there are two types of relationship between banker and customer: general relationship and the special relationship. Then general relationship, there are only one general relationship between banker and customer, is that relationship between debtor and creditor. Okay, so what is the general relationship between debtor and creditor? So the primary, already we know that the primary relationship between banker and customer is that of a debtor and a creditor. The primary relationship between banker and customer is that of a debtor and a creditor. Who is a debtor? Anjo, who is a debtor? Already we know in accounting.
Who owes money from the business?
Yes, very good. So who is a creditor? Atul, who is a creditor?
Who lends the money in credit basis.
Yes, to whom the business owes, that is a creditor. Here means it is opposite. I will tell. We know that the primary relationship between banker customer is that of a debtor and a creditor. Means on opening an account with a bank and receive a deposit from the customer, then the bank becomes the debtor and the customer becomes the creditor. So in business point of view, it is just opposite of a business point of view. Here means on receiving an account from the customer, the bank becomes the debtor because the bank is receiving money. So he becomes a debtor and the customer becomes the creditor. Clear? On opening an account with a bank and receiving a deposit from the customer, the banker becomes the debtor and the customer becomes the creditor. Means the money deposited becomes the absolute property of the banker. Means the bank can deal the deposit in many ways. He can deposit any securities, shares, debentures, and he can give any loan. The banker can give a loan to the bank because the money deposited becomes the absolute property of the banker. But only one obligation is that he have to return, the banker have to return the money to the customer on demand or other ways. That is the relationship between debtor and creditor. Whenever the customer opens an account with a bank and they receive a deposit from the customer, the banker becomes the debtor and the customer becomes the creditor. Okay, but one thing is that a customer remains a creditor of the bank so long as his account is in credit balance. So long as his account is in credit balance. But the relationship is reversed when the customer becomes the debtor. When the customer account is overdrawn, when the customer account is overdrawn or the loan is taken, then in that case, the customer becomes the debtor and the banker becomes the creditor. Okay, it is clear. So it is concluded that the primary relationship between the banker and the customer is that of a debtor and the creditor, and their position will be decided on the basis of the statement of his account, whether it is a loan or whether it is a deposit. If it is a deposit, the banker becomes the debtor and the customer becomes the creditor. If it is overdraft or it is a loan account, the customer becomes the debtor and the banker becomes the creditor. So it is the general relationship between the debtor, the banker and the customer. Clear? Any doubts? Any doubts related with the relationship between debtor and creditor? But one thing you have to remember, suppose in a business concern, we will prepare a cash book. So if example, we know that our majority of the transactions are doing through bank account. So, so if you deposit, so in cash book, what we are depositing, what we will debit. In cash account, we will debit. So bank, they are preparing our account in the passbook. So there they will credit. Okay, we will debit, they will credit. Okay, so relationship between debtor and creditor means now you understood. So whenever the bank receive deposit from the customer, the bank becomes the debtor and the customer become the creditor. Okay, when this relationship will change when the customer take a loan from the bank. Otherwise, when the customer account is overdrawn, then the relationship will change. In that case, the customer becomes the debtor and the banker become the creditor. Okay, so that is, then we said the money deposited become the absolute property of the which is the absolute property of the banker. They can use any in many ways as he likes. Okay, that is which one, the relationship between debtor and creditor. Next one, special relationship between banker and customer. Okay, so there are a lot of special relationships between banker and customer. So any doubt related with the general relationship? Anyone? Atul, Sharath, any doubt? Atul, Sharath?
No, sir.
Okay, so special relationship between banker and customer. So there are a lot of special relationship between banker and customer. Trustee and beneficiary, agent and principal, pledger and pledgee, lessor and lessee, bailor and bailee, hypothecator and hypothecatee, advisor and client, advisor and client. So these are the special relationship between banker and customer. So first one, trustee and beneficiary. Trustee and beneficiary means some case the banker act as a truster. Banker act as a truster. When means a truster holds money or assets or any properties or and perform certain functions for the benefit of other person called beneficiary. Okay, sometimes as a truster the banker holds sometimes money, otherwise anyone property or any will the house will, any will, okay, or land will. Okay, so any function for the benefit of any other person called beneficiary. Okay, so the customer continues to be the holder of that properties. Suppose if I given my property to the bank for the purpose of dealing, okay, for the purpose of dealing, so that is then the bank becomes the truster, then I become the beneficiary. Then the customer, so I continue to be the owner of these properties. Okay, the customer continues to be the property to be the owner of these properties. As a truster, the banker is required to deal the trust money or property in accordance with the terms of the trust deed. In accordance with the terms of the trust deed. Suppose if I am telling after my death, you have to give my property to the charitable organization. So they will do according to that. Okay, so that is trustee and beneficiary. Means as a truster, the truster holds money or property or a document for the benefit of some other person called beneficiary. So they have to deal, they have to do the function according to the terms of the trust deed. According to the terms of the trust deed, they have to do the functions. Okay, they have to deal with the property. Okay, that is trustee and beneficiary. Special relation between banker and customer. First one, trustee and beneficiary. Okay, so next one is agent and principal. Okay, the banker act as a so next is special relationship between banker and customer is that agent and the principal. So we know that already we studied modern bank performs a lot of agent functions, agency services on behalf of the customer. What are the agency services? Already we studied. What are the agency services? Collection of credit instruments, collection of check, collection of bill of exchange, then collection of dividend, collection of interest, Okay, then executing the standing order. So on the base on behalf of so we have to give instruction to the bank. You have to give our insurance premium. You have to give our electricity premium. You have to give our any water bill. Okay, so we have to give only one time instruction. Then they will pay our payments. Okay, that is acts an agent. Then they will purchase and they will sell our shares, securities. Then remittance of money, remittance of fund. Then deals on behalf of customer. They will buy and sell the foreign money. Okay, so these are the agency services. In this case, the bank becomes the agent and the customer becomes the principal. Okay, not principal, principal. Okay, so that is agent and principal. Okay, so modern bank, every bank performs lot of agency services on behalf of the customer. In that case, the bank becomes the agent and the customer becomes the principal. Okay, next one, pledger and pledgee. Next special relation between banker and customer is that pledger and pledgee. Means when the customer, so here when the customer pledges give that property, pledges certain assets or any property with the bank or securities with the bank in order to get a loan. In order to get a loan, the customer becomes the pledger and the bank becomes the pledgee. What is the case? When the customer pledge or promise given, when the customer pledges certain assets or securities or gold, anything with the bank in order to get a loan, the customer becomes the pledger and the bank becomes the pledgee. Okay, so under this agreement, the asset or security will remain with the bank, until the customer repays the loan. Okay, that is a relationship between pledger and pledgee. Example, gold loan. You know that gold loan here means if you want a loan, you have to pledge your gold to the bank. So after repaying the loan, you will get that loan. Sometimes the businessman will pledge the goods. So after repayment, they will get the goods back. That is the relation between pledger and pledgee. Okay. Any doubt related with the three cases? First, I said the trustee and beneficiary. Trustee and beneficiary means a trustor holds money or property or will for the benefit of some person. In this case, the banker becomes the trustor and the customer becomes the beneficiary. Next, agent. The modern bank performs a lot of agency services. In that case, the banker becomes the agent, the customer becomes the principal. Next, pledger means when the customer pledge something to get with the bank in order to get a loan, then the customer becomes the pledger, and the bank becomes the pledgee. Okay, here means the assets or securities they will get after the repayment of the loan. Okay, any doubt related with the 3 points? Anyone? Hadi, any doubts? Hadi Aman, Irfan, any doubts? Irfan, any doubts? Shubham, any doubts? Shubham?
No, sir.
Okay, Hadi Aman, turn on your video. Okay, so next one, Baylor and Bailey relationship. 1 minute, no. Before that, lesser and lessee. Lesser and lessee. Lesser and lessee means when a bank hires a safe deposit locker. When a banker hires a safe deposit locker to the customer, means when the banker given control, when the banker hires a safe deposit locker to the customer, the banker becomes the lessor and the customer becomes the lessee. Means they are giving one facility to the customer for keeping their valuables for some period, for an agreed amount. Okay, so they are giving one place for the customer to keep their valuables. Okay, when the banker hires a safe deposit locker to the customer, in that case the banker becomes the lessor and the customer becomes the lessee. Okay, that is which one? That is lessor and a lessee. Understand? When the banker hires any safe deposit locker, for that they have to give any agreement. It means for temporary use for an agreed amount. For a temporary use for an agreed amount. That is a lessor and lessee. When the banker hires any safe deposit locker to the customer, means for keeping their valuables for temporary use for an agreed amount. So that is in that case the banker becomes the lessor and the customer becomes the lessee. Okay. Next one, Baylor and Bailey relationship. Baylor and Baylor relationship. What do you mean by bailment? Means a delivery of goods. Delivery of goods by one person to another person. That is bailment. So bail means the person delivering the goods is called bailer. The person delivering the goods is called bailer, and the person to whom these are delivered is called bailee. Okay, the person delivering the goods is called bailer, and the person to whom the goods are delivered is called bailee. So when the customer gives a sealed box, so Baylor and Bailey relationship. So next one, hypothecator and hypothecating. Hypothecator and hypothecating. So it is just like a pledger and pledgee. Means when the customer hypothecates certain movable property or assets, when a customer hypothecates certain movable property or assets with the bank in order to get a loan, the customer becomes the hypothecator and the banker becomes the hypothecatee. Means when the customer, that I will tell the difference, when the customer hypothecates certain assets, certain movable property or assets with the bank in order to get a loan, then the customer becomes the hypothecator and the banker becomes the hypothecatee. Means, suppose here I said pledger and pledgee means they are pledging the gold. They are pledging the gold. Gold loan, I said example. Here means, what is example means? Vehicle loan and bike loan. That is the example of hypothecator. Means when the customer suppose if you are purchasing which one, bike or car, so in installments. So first we will give the down payment. Suppose if you are purchasing a car, we will give the 50,000. After that we will give installment. Means then we have to get a loan from the bank. Then what we are hypothecating, we are giving, so that movable property, that car we are giving. Suppose if you are not giving the installments on the correct time, they will take back that which one, assets. That is hypothecator and hypothecator, hypothecatee. In this case, the customer becomes the hypothecator, then the bank becomes the hypothecatee. Understand difference between the hypothecator and hypothecatee and the pledger and pledgee? Any doubt related with that? Karthik, any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay, so that is the difference. Means pledger means that is a gold loan example. Then advance against goods. Here means we can use that goods. We can use that goods. Which one? Hypothecator and hypothecatee. Suppose if we are not giving the amount on a proper time, then they will take back the assets. For example, car loan, bus loan, tourist bus, that loan, then the bike loan. So that is the relationship between hypothecator and hypothecatee. Next one, last one is advisor and client. Advisor and client. Here means that here advisor and client means, here means suppose the customer want to purchase the shares or we want to deal the shares. What they will do, then the bank will act as an advisor. So if example, if you don't know anything about the investment in shares, how to purchase the share, how to sell the share, then if you approach the bank, then they will give the advice to you, officially or unofficially. In this case, then they will tell clearly how to purchase and how to sell the share, then how to account the demat account, everything they will tell you. So in this case, the bank acts as an advisor, then the customer is a client. Okay, so these are the relation between advisor and client. Means as an advice, they will instruct the customer how to purchase, how to whenever before purchasing the shares, what are the formalities are there, then how to purchase the share and how to sell the share. So in this case, the bank act as an advisor and the and the customer act as a client. Okay, so these are the special relationship between the banker and customer. First one, trustee and beneficiary. First one, the trustee and beneficiary means a truster holds money or property or will for the benefit of some person. Then the customer continues to be the owner of these properties. Then they have to deal the property according to the terms of the deed. Next one, agent and principal means a modern banks performs a number of agency services on behalf of the customer. Okay, so in this case, the bank becomes the agent and the customer becomes the principal. Then the pledge, then the relation between pledger and pledgee. When the customer pledges certain property or security with the bank in order to get a loan, then the banker becomes the customer becomes the pledger and the banker becomes the pledgee. So that means the assets or security will remain with the bank until the customer repays the loan. Up to that time, they will keep that asset. Okay. Next, lessor and lessee. Suppose if the customer want a safe deposit locker, then the banker, then if they hire, the bank hires a safe deposit locker to the customer, the bank becomes the lessor and the customer becomes the lessee. Next, Baylor and Baylor, when the customer gives any valuables to the banker for safe custody, the bank becomes the, and then the bank becomes the bailee and the customer becomes the bailer, because of those who deliver the goods. For that purpose, they will charge some nominal rent. The nominal then, suppose if it is a safe deposit locker, means anytime you can deposit and take back the documents. Here means for safe custodies, for some documents for some period, means they have to charge, they will charge some amount from us. Suppose if you want to keep our gold in a safe custody, we can keep. So for that, they will charge some nominal amount as service charge. Next, hypothecator and hypothecating means when a customer hypothecates certain movable property with the bank in order to get a loan, then the customer becomes the hypothecator, and the customer becomes the hypothecating. Next, advisor and claimant. Advisor and claimant means, here means if example, if you want to invest, if you want to buy or sell the shares, before buying and selling, means they will instruct, the bank will act as an advisor. Okay, then the customer becomes the client. So that are the special relationship between a banker and customer. And the general relationship, I said, the relationship between debtor and creditor. So here means on the opening of an account or receiving a deposit from the customer, the bank becomes the debtor and the customer becomes the creditor. Okay, then the money deposited becomes the absolute property of the banker. So they can deposit any investment, then they can give that amount as a loan to the customer. But one obligation is that to return that money to the customer on demand, or after expiry of the certain period, that we have to return. But the relationship it will reverse when the account is overdrawn, when the overdraft is taken by the customer or the loan is taken. Then in that case, the customer becomes the debtor and the banker becomes the creditor. So these are the topic. So